Welcome to the Dental and Mental Podcast.
We are going to be talking to you about the business and the mindset of dentistry.
Welcome back to the Dental and Mental Podcast. I'm Dr. Galen Dietrich.
I'm Dr. Davina Dietrich.
And I tried to dress up a little bit on this one. If you watched the previous episode, you know that I was looking a little, well, actually pretty much the same as I am right now. And I've been told that I'm nipping out, so we're freeing the nip here today.
That's right. That's okay.
Davina, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
I just called you Davina. That was weird.
That was weird. I thought so too. I thought that was very awkward.
It was like Davina for the people, but
I know.
really it'd be like babe, lover.
I know.
Sweet cheeks.
That was that was weird.
Davina's a guest today.
Exactly. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you look like you could be like in Vampire Diaries or something like that, you know?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. What's the one with Brad Pitt and
Interview with a Vampire?
that one?
It was like set in like the 1800s, so I don't think they wore this in the 1800s.
We don't know.
You've never watched Interview with a Vampire?
I haven't. I'm making a lot of things up.
I'm like, what is this guy talking about?
But if I was in that movie, that's what I would think the ladies were wearing.
No,
sure.
it was
because there's a lot of neck. You can really get in there as a vampire. That's what I was kinda thinking, you know?
Okay, yeah.
You got a crucifix on. It's like, man, there's like a whole lot of things that just feel like, you know, right for the storyline.
Oh my gosh. Okay, where are we going today?
Where are we going? Well, actually, where we're going is kind of a continuation of the last one, in the sense that we talked a lot about, you know, identity and standards and vision and all the rest. But you had mentioned the story of NIMS, and we're going to call him Dan. I should have fact checked.
During the last
Don.
podcast, we talked about 14 Peaks and NIM, and we have fact checked the other climber's name. He was Don Bowie.
Don Bowie. Yeah, so no shade at Don, but Don was weak sauce. I mean, he's a lot stronger than I was probably, but you know, he was capitulating to his lowering standards of what he was capable of.
Right.
But what that kind of made me think about is, you know, what are the qualities of the person that you're learning from, right? That's guiding you up a mountain. That's a really important question to ask. And you and I have come face to face with this a number of times in the last couple of weeks, because we've been talking to dentists who have expressed how much it means to them that we do know their spouses' names, you know, their kids' names, that we have a good marriage, that we have children, that we have a style of practice that is very individualistic, you know, that we like to travel. There's like certain things and qualities of life, right? A lifestyle that you're looking to emulate.
Yeah.
And maybe that you even have in part, but you're like, I want more of this and I want to curate what I have. It really means then that you have to pick somebody to climb after, right? To be guided up a mountain by, to make sure you're climbing the right mountain.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. I think that's really true. Well, this is interesting because, I have a coach. I was going to say, you know, I have a coach, but I have a coach. And
Galen knows you have a coach.
Yeah, you know I have a coach, but I have a coach. And I was asking her feedback on something specific. So it was a testimonial, and I asked her to watch it, and her first perception of it was, oh, I didn't realize that was your testimonial. I thought that you were sharing your friend's wins. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because it's like, you know, that piece that we get so involved with our clients, that there is a friendship, not that you have to have a friendship with your coach. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it ultimately evolves to that place for us, that as we are building with these dentists, we do understand their family. We do have our own inside jokes from conversations that we've had, from all of the things that we've done together. So we do have a lot of that unintentionally. It's just something that happens when you have people that you have a lot in common with, share a really deep value set with, and that you do cool shit together. It's like there's nothing else except for a friendship that ultimately comes out of that.
Right.
Like now it's like public knowledge, but we were one of the first people to find out that Danielle and Christian were having a baby. Right? Yeah. They sent us a text message letting us know that they were having a baby, and we could not be more excited about this.
Remember where we were? We were actually in Iowa.
Yeah.
Cody and Allison.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. You know, I have had a number of coaches and consultants, and in dentistry, especially with Dev, we've had a number of companies that we've worked with. Honestly, I haven't liked any of them, really. I mean, that's just me speaking, honestly. I don't think that any of them have really wow, that just changed everything for me. But I think a part of that's because they've become these companies that, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've experienced this. You hire a consulting team or a coach, and oftentimes they've grown to such a size that now it's like, cool, you joined our program. That's awesome. And it's like a lot of high touch up to that point for the sale. And then once you're in the program, they just get you with a lower coach, somebody else, right, that they're training. It's like coming on board. And you get the B team or the C team because the guys and gals up top who began this whole thing, who you wanted to learn from, you're not getting that anymore. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem, I think, because we've had it even with providers. You go to your chiropractor or you go to your whoever else you want, your tattoo artist, whoever it is, you want to go to that person. That's who you selected, right?
Yeah.
You did your research around that person. You grew a relationship with that person. It's the same thing patients complain about all the time. If they go to corporate, it's like, I saw a different dentist every single time. You want to anchor down with a person that you know, that you trust, that you feel like we get each other. When you get B team or C team or somebody totally different, you're like, it just doesn't feel right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big difference with the way that we coach and work with people, is that you get us.
Well, I think, so in the email that you sent last night, we really started breaking down kind of the 3 ways that you can help somebody get results.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So in the online world, it's packaged in a done for you kind of way. In that way, I think of maybe marketing companies or something, right? They do all the things for you.
Or even group practice type consultants. There's a number of those.
Right.
Where we all have the same goal. We're going to sell our businesses. We're going to have a 5-year horizon. This is what your business look like, which means we're all going to adopt the exact same systems. We're all going to look the same, talk the same scripts, same team sizes, same everything.
Right.
And it's a formula. Right.
Exactly. Right. So somebody comes in there and it's done for you. Mm-hmm. That's why it's the done for you model. Right. And then there's the DIY. Mm-hmm. So, do it yourself, which Thrive has some courses that way. That's for usually doctors that are not practice owners yet. Those courses I think are really great then, right? You are learning some technique stuff, maybe some skill set stuff. You're learning the principles first. Mm-hmm. So you go through something like a course to be able to understand, but then eventually you're going to need to do it with somebody, right? So, Okay, maybe I learned how to do this class 4, but what would really take me to the next level is you and I doing it together. You and I doing a resin case together.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is the done with you model, right? So you are actually, it is to the whole point of this. It is Nims and Dan going up the mountain together. I'm going to do this with you. It's called lead learner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think that's what makes it incredibly special is because when you're doing something with somebody, you get to have that shared experience of building, and it's not just that person's way, our way.
Right.
Because everybody comes in with the unique vision that they want for their practice.
Well, we talked a lot about so there's kind of this why you do something that's very high level, right? What's your vision or your standard for how you're going to achieve whatever it is in life. After you have your why, there's this what, what's it actually look like? And then there's this how. And a lot of people start the how. That's the question you get. Well, how would I do this? How would I be successful like you? How do I make money like that? How do I schedule when my schedule looks like this right now? How do I schedule blocks when, I'm just taking anything and everything that comes in? But there's something below all that, and we talked about this a lot in our workshop, which is this idea of kinetics. It's that energy source for doing anything in the first place. Think about it as motivation, passion, whatever. When you're not doing something that you want to do, that you feel called to do, that is yours. It's kind of your baby. Again, you're not selling widgets online. You're building a practice. Right? So as a business owner, that's a statement. That is this is who I am. This is the mark I'm going to leave on. It takes a lot of you. It's a full expression of who you are. If you just join a tribe that this is the way we always do things, and you have to fit that model to succeed, and you're not even working with the A team, you're working with B or C, it's not a surprise that you don't have any energy or passion. If you enjoyed this episode of the Dental and Mental Podcast and this topic resonated with you, we go so much deeper inside the Thrive Lab.
So if you too want to be copied but not replicated, come join us in the lab.
And just for you, because you listen to the podcast, if you want a full $1,200 off of the year-long subscription, just use coupon code podcast. See you then.
And I think that can work for a specific type of person.
Yeah, there's certain
right. I think there's a specific type of person who's like, look, I'm not trying to. I want to actually be a cog in the wheel.
But I don't think that person's typically an owner. Very rarely is that person an owner.
Right. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I think that there's a place for those people who want that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even that's one of our stipulations in Nexit Gen 2. It's you have to be a practice owner.
Right.
And it's not to keep certain people out of the castle. It's just that it's just not a great fit if you're an associate, because you may be wanting to own someday. That's awesome. We have plenty of courses around that. There's lots of places to go to start to get your plan in place to become an owner. But I don't know that that's the greatest use because you're very limited as an associate in your ability to implement the changes that are in your head and your mind, which means you don't get the traction, which means you don't get the feedback, which means that you really start to diminish your energy source, your kinetics behind anything that you do. So it's like, get out of that first, and then we can really start to pour on the gas.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me a little bit about you and what you're kind of aspiring to next, right? So every mountain climber has the next mountain that's kind of in their mind. Like, that's the one they want to do. This is what I need to train for. This is what I need to research. What is the next mountain for you, and how does it differ or change from the ones that you've ascended prior?
Well, I think the next mountain is the same mountain again, but faster. Right. So
Okay.
it's right. So I had 2 goals for 2025, and it's spinal health.
Speaking of,
Yeah, it's spinal health. That's like the lens that I filter
gotta
a
make
lot.
Dr. Adrian happy here.
Yeah, exactly. That I filter a lot of things through is like just really being mindful about my spine, because last year was a lot about like losing weight.
Yeah.
And this year I'm only focusing on my spine. So for
Which
me,
you did.
For me,
Crushed it.
thank you. For me, I have to have a really narrow focus, because I also know that I'm the type of person who can get interested in a lot of things and then get nothing done. So it's like, okay, spinal health is this year, and really pouring into Nexit docs and getting a lot more of those people results in their practices, right? Because those are the things if you listen to the last podcast, I talk a lot about all of the different things that our doctors are doing that I find really inspiring. So for us to be able to do that with more docs and to see cool practices spring up that are doing things totally different, totally out of the box, really innovative, I get to see all of these people become leaders in dentistry.
Right.
And I love dentistry. It's a really important, I've never been in any other profession. I love dentistry.
Yeah, you've been a long time.
Yeah, obviously I don't practice clinically, but I love the field. I love the industry. I love the potential that dentists have to really make an impact. And when you see the way medicine has went, I think it's terribly sad.
Yeah.
But I also think it's opened up really cool places for people who are doing something different, even in medicine, they're easier to find, right?
Yeah.
My doctors are easier to find now because everybody looks so much alike that one person that sticks out, I'm like, oh, I already know that you're for me.
Yeah, it is far better to have systems than to be in a system.
That's so good.
And I think that's what you see in medicine, is that the vast majority of our providers are in the system. They're part of the machine. They're in the matrix, And I agree with you. I've got a doctor a physician who's one of our patients, Vita, and I was drawn to her work immediately because she was so different, right? But it's also interesting because there's something that happens when you get to do things your own way. There's a fear factor to this. We talked a little bit about this, how there's like that fear of success rather than failure, and that's what's much more real. But I think about the way she's doing things, and what I see in her is there's this real attentiveness to having autonomy and freedom. Like, I will treat my patients the way they need to be treated, the way I see that they need to be healed, not the way a pharmaceutical company tells me things need to be done, right? Or a government agency or an HMO. I don't want to be told how it's done because I don't agree with it, which gets to the ethics of who we are as healthcare providers. And that's why I think that when you start to see these, so many of the docs, all the docs that we work with actually have that as a heartbeat. I want to take care of my patients, but they have hearts that are just, massive.
Right.
But that's part of the scary place, is that there's not this rule book for how you're going to do it all. Both of the docs that we just recently worked with, that's what they both said, right? They said that there was a sense, a feel of wanting to take care of your patients in a very particular way, the way that you saw fit, but that no one else was doing it. And so there was a fear of like almost retribution from colleagues who are in the system, pulling you down, saying you can't do that. You see this a lot in like whether it's biologic dentistry or resin dentistry, conservative dentistry, bioaesthetic dentistry. Anyone who's not just doing drill and fill and bill kind of has an opinion. And I honestly think that opinion's coming from repression. You're in a system and you fucking hate it.
Absolutely.
So you have to tear down the people who are doing something crazy, who are doing something wild. And really, they're pursuing freedom. But that's the risky piece, is that when you're successful, people are coming for you. They're going to say some things. And you might even feel some second guessing and some doubts around like, am I doing it the right way? Is this okay? Freedom is a very scary thing to have, is what I'm getting at. It's a very scary thing.
Right, yeah.
It's also the biggest motivator.
Yeah, right, for the right person, right? For the right person. And I also think it's interesting too because as we're talking about this, there's a lot of obviously your heart and soul that you pour into your practice and your thumbprint that you put on it, because it is a reflection of your standards, your beliefs, the things that you think are important, right? But we had a doctor say something and I was like, yeah, that can be it too. It was like, I'm going to do all this, but I still want dentistry to be the vehicle for my legacy. I don't necessarily think that dentistry is my legacy.
Yeah.
And the clarity of my legacy is going to be with my wife, my spouse, my children, the impact that I have on my friends, the impact that I have on my own community that I live in, right? So it's like the dentistry isn't going to be the legacy, and that's okay too. But there was also this clarity of the dentistry gets to be the vehicle of which I do have the legacy that I want to build.
It's such a great moment of clarity for, I don't know if I can say this uniformly, across the board, whatever the word is. But I do think that almost everyone comes to that same realization one way or another. Very few people are the Steve Jobs of dentistry, right? Where it's like, this is the thing I live and breathe for, and I will change the complete topography of our field, right? That's a very rare person, like a very rare person. The vast majority of dentists want to be very good at what they do. They want to take excellent care of their patients. They want to continue to learn and evolve and train. But they want that success to translate into more of the real wells that they want to pour into. And that was the cool thing about our workshop this past weekend, that the realization when they saw, oh, I'm not weird for thinking that. And I don't have to choose between the two areas that most people do, which is just eat, drink, live, and breathe dentistry, talk about it all the time, nerd out. A lot of people are told that. You get that feeling from social media, like you've got to just like eat this thing all day long. You hate it. Or it's, well, I really want to care about my family, so it's just this thing that I do, Well, those two options aren't great, because one feels like an absolute obsession over something you don't really care as much about. And the other is, I'm going to have this floundering business that doesn't really do much, but at least I took care of my family. It's like, well, there's probably a lot of things from a very successful business that you could give to your family, from experiences to generational wealth to opportunities, that when you have a successful business, you actually get to give them. And I think people are always faced with this, and it's like there is a third option. It's a very custom option. It's a beautiful option.
Yeah, that's why those are my things. You asked me, we started this off with you asking me what the focus was for for this year, for however long it takes, right?
Yeah.
And that's the focus. Because I remember, I talk about this a lot, this story. And it's not even that significant, but it was significant to me. And it was the first time that we met Bob Margis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that was so impactful. This is not a story he'd remember because he was just being him.
Right.
Right. He was like, this is not going to be a memory for him, but it was a memory for me because I remember looking at him and I was like, that's what I want. Like, I want to be in love. I want to be bebopping around. I want to be
bobbing around.
Yeah. Like I want to be happy and encouraging and really have something to give back and watch other people hopefully be motivated by that so that they understand that they can go and do the same thing. So when we talk about Nexit and really supporting these doctors and building these practices, my hope is that these doctors are that they are a version of their own Bob Margis in their community, for their dental schools, for new dentists that are coming out. Yeah. I think that it's really sad for new dentists to come out and get on social media after having a $600,000 student loan and you're scrolling and all you hear is, this sucks. You should have left. This was the wrong decision. I hate my life. Like, what a bummer.
What a bummer.
Right? Like,
what a bummer.
What a bummer. And I just think that would have...
It's a disservice. Actually.
Yes, it would have felt so bad to me, especially at that time, right? We're talking like 10 years ago, 13. How long have we been dentists?
Dentists?
Yeah.
13 years.
Right. So 13 years ago, right? I wasn't heavy on social media then like I am now. From a user perspective.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine getting out of school at that point and having TikTok and just seeing video after video of struggling practice. This is the worst, all of this. That would have been such a bummer for me. And I do think that the field needs more people showing that this could actually be a damn good time and that you can have a family and a legacy and impact others and that you didn't make the worst mistake of your life.
Yeah. Too, it comes dressed up different ways. You're going to have people who very much come across on social as like fucking worst decision of all time, like crying, burnout, all the rest. There's another version of it which is more socially acceptable, which is the why even try humor, right? You make fun of the thing, but it's like, nothing can be done about it. That is really prevalent, at least in my algorithm. My algo is all that, And it's fascinating to see how few Bob Margises there are that are like just positivity. And it's not stupid, right? This isn't like not grounded.
Right.
This is a man who's successful, who lectures, gives, he practices and teaches, which is incredibly rare.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's people who want to just tell you how to do things from their time past, don't practice anymore, lost their relevance. Sorry, that's what it is. Doesn't mean you don't have something good to say. It just means that like there's a limitation to how far you can take it.
Right.
There's very few of those. And in all honesty, I don't know that we set out to be that for people. I think we are that now. We have that effect on a lot of dentists where it's like, it doesn't have to suck. It can be actually one of the most exhilarating things you've ever done. It can be a life-fulfilling purpose. But we hated our experience.
Right.
We knew that we couldn't live that way. And so we were maybe just stupid enough to think that maybe we could change that by going off the beaten path, right?
Yep.
But we had to go to people outside of dentistry.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. We had Bob, and that was about the only person that was like, yeah, it's still a great time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. The conversations are even different, right? Where it's like, yeah, like this, I got a champagne sword. And you're like, what's that? Right? It's not like, oh my gosh, every day I just hate my life. Like, it's just not like back to our last podcast. I don't want to subject myself to loser think because it's easy to start thinking that like, oh, this is shit, right? So you have to intentionally seek out people who are doing things in a way that is going to make you believe that you could do it too.
There's this is another little place that we can take this that's an important one. So we kind of start this out by saying like, what kind of guides are we? Where are we going? What kind of, essentially an awareness of what mountain is being climbed. Are we climbing the same mountain together? If you're looking to do something totally different in dentistry, or you just don't want to have a cookie cutter practice, what mountain should you be looking to climb? And who's going to help you get up that mountain? hopefully it's somebody who's climbed it before, who's climbed it a lot of times. That's why I even love that you said, you're like, I'm climbing the same mountain, but again, faster. There's a repetition to that, which I love, and a consistency. But what we're really getting at is this awareness of yourself and the vision and the standards that you have and the people around you. We have a few docs in our tribe that have had some pretty momentous success and a few that haven't when faced with a decision. And it was an awareness first and then a decision that came from that. And you were really good at this. It was a couple of docs who came from wealth. They already had that around them in some way, shape, or form. In other words, they didn't need this business that they were in charge of to soar, to take care of the things that they need to take care of. Why does that matter? Because if you don't have an awareness of that, you'll come up against what could be great and you'll dawn it out. Nope, not this time. But there's a desire in you to do something great. That doesn't go away. It's just that you just keep muting it, right? And I have such a respect for those. Those type of docs will get ridiculed by their colleagues. Be like, oh, you're lucky. You had so much going for you. I look at that and say it's actually one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest places to be successful.
It's hard.
It's harder than what I grew up with. I grew up with a hunger and a desire to change my life. I didn't have that. You didn't have that. But a doc who's been given that and has a safety net always, our advice to them is always the same. You need to be scared shitless. So we have to synthesize that. We have to create that environment where you're going to be terrified. And most people choose, nah, I don't think I want to do that deep down.
Right.
And there's a few that have said, you're right. And I want this more. So I will create that. Hats off to that. But that's an important awareness, and it translates to all other forms of awareness.
Well, so what is your mountain this season?
And I guess in some ways it's similar to yours in that it's a very similar mountain, if not the same mountain. I haven't really thought about it. But I want to still clinically practice, but I want to cut down from 3 days to 2. I want to maintain the same income, which is not going to be easy, but it's a good challenge. It's a fun challenge. It also comes with not just the money side of things, but also supporting the practice, patient loads, our youngest associate coming in, possibly getting another one, like a lot of these kinds of decisions as an owner. But that's my evolution as a clinician so that I can spend more time with you and thrive and taking care of more docs. I feel like that's the impact that I'm drawn more towards. I love being a dentist. I love the work of my hands. I like the craft. And I get a lot of joy out of working with dentists like we just did this past weekend. I get so filled up by what they're doing, and I want to help more of them. So I think that's where I'm going.
Okay, so you mentioned that you are going to cut back days, but that may include bringing on another associate for Vita.
Yeah, associate number 2.
So this is a huge topic that I want to go into, so let's save it for the next podcast, but I really want to hear what are the plans for bringing in another associate? What are the systems that are currently being developed, not only from a Vita perspective, but systems that we see in other practices that we're helping with as well, so that the docs can start to think about how do they leverage their time differently and have impact in all the other areas that we were talking about.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right. See you in the next one.
See you in the next one. Thank you for listening and or watching the Dental and Mental podcast. If you enjoyed this episode or any others for that matter, feel free to tap that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, as well as Spotify. While you're there, why not leave us a review up to 5 stars? And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what topic you want us to discuss next.
If you like what you heard today and you want to be involved in the Thrive world from coaching to courses or just to connect with us, go to thethrivedentist.com.